Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, this is a strike all amendment that I think will ultimately address a very serious concern that has continued to be has been brought before this chamber before and downstairs, and continues to be a problem in Connecticut. And essentially the amendment is calling for the Commissioner of DEEP to adopt regulations in accordance with Chapter 54 of the General Statutes to create a hunting season for black bear in Connecticut. And I know that this has been a contentious issue in the past for many reasons. There are many animal advocates, and I am an animal advocate myself. I've said this before. I've owned many cats and dogs, and believe that pets certainly have a place, and have adopted animals in the past. But bears are not pets. They never will be. They are dangerous. They are a risk to the public safety. We have a persistent problem that gets worse and worse in Connecticut each year. DEEP has reported to us through bear sighting reports and through tagging activities that they go through across the state. And we know that the bear population increases by about 10% every year. And it's a persistent problem that I think the time has come for us to address. This should not be a partisan Democrat versus Republican issue. Bears are truly nonpartisan in their behavior. They are going into towns and cities everywhere in Connecticut. You know, former Senator Fasano used to joke that he couldn't wait to see a bear down in his district. And lo and behold, very recently he informed me that he finally saw a bear down in his district. And he's on the coast, as you know, on Long Island Sound. We here up in Litchfield County, I represent that fine part of Connecticut with Senator Minor and a few others here in the circle. We hear almost on a daily basis from constituents who are having issues with bears. And this is not just, oh, I saw a bear in the woods. This is bears that are causing property damage. They are breaking into homes. Literally ending up in people's kitchens. They are destroying personal property, beehives, bird feeders, going onto decks. I believe that Senator Whitcoast can talk about a bear almost being in his pool, his swimming pool in his backyard. More seriously than that, if that's not serious enough, we also have regular occurrences reported to us either in our legislative offices or through our law enforcement about family pets being taken by bears, dogs, cats, rabbits. And then I live in a district and represent a district that has a large farming community. And I have my farmers calling me and saying that they are losing small livestock to bears, and bears are breaking into their barns where they're supposed to be able to protect their livestock like chickens and rabbits from being assaulted, I guess, by a bear. One of the other arguments that's routinely made with respect to bears is that they were here before us. And I would argue that the bears were not here before us in our towns. They might have been up in the woods, in the hills in the northwest corner and the northeast corner of Connecticut, but they certainly were not in my neighborhood. And we have evidence of this based upon what's provided to us by DEEP and other experts. As I understand it, and I am not an expert on the habitats of bears, male bears will mark out a territory, and they expand and they protect that territory. So if we continue to do nothing and we ignore this problem, it's very sensible and reasonable to understand that these bears will continue to expand into areas that are not their natural habitat. It's not natural for a bear to live on Capitol Avenue, yet we saw one a year and a half ago. Why was that bear in Hartford? It was looking for a place to create its habitat and to create the area, the territory that it defends. So if we continue to ignore this problem, I think that we put into play and at risk the more serious and most serious aspect of not having a properly regulated and administered program for a bear hunting season, like we do for the hunting of deer and certain types of birds and coyotes and a whole bunch of other animals in Connecticut that are properly administered. They're monitored by our DEEP. But what we put at risk here is that sooner or later, and I would say probably not, it's not going to be an if, it's going to be a when, we're going to wake up one morning to a terrible story on the news about a person who has been mauled or killed by a bear. And I don't think that we can continue to make the argument in a responsible manner to say, oh, we shouldn't be hurting. These bears, they were here before us, and we have to learn to adapt and whatnot. The bear's not going to learn from us. The bear knows, particularly as they come into our more populated neighborhoods, that those wonderful recycling and garbage bins that we put out every week to pick up our garbage become the buffet for a bear. I have that at my own house. I have a bear that visits. This bear has figured out when the can is full, knocks it over, and every morning I go out, or one of my sons goes out, and we clean up after the bear. And someone would say, well, Senator Berthel, put the garbage can in the garage and get it so the bear won't come back. Well, the bear will break into the garage if it really wants to. If you've ever seen a full-grown black bear in Connecticut, you'd know that they have the ability to do that. And I think that we have a responsibility to allow DEEP to come back to us using some of the guidelines provided in this amendment to come back with us with a reasonable program for the hunting of black bear. This is not for sport. This is not for game. This should be looked at as an opportunity to protect the public. And this should be looked at as an opportunity to enhance and improve public safety. I do not want to be standing before this chamber at some point in time in the future in an emergency session where we're called in because now we have to authorize a bear hunting season through DEEP. We have an opportunity to fix this today with something that is very reasonable. We need to get past the notion that bears are friendly, they're pets, that we need to learn to live with them. They don't want to learn to live with us. They're taking advantage of what we're making available through the refuse that we put out, the fact that we put bird feeders, and some of us have beehives, and we have wonderful things that attract them. And it's unreasonable to say, well, we shouldn't put bird feeders out, and we shouldn't put beehives out, and we should completely adapt to allow this bear to be in our backyards. Okay? And I can't show you because it's not possible, but I could show you, if it were possible, a video of a bear running through my backyard a number of months ago when my children were outside, my elderly parents were outside, and thank God my neighbor saw this and said, hey, there's a bear coming through the yard, and we all went and sought safety, refuge from, it was a juvenile bear, but it was still a bear in my backyard. So, Madam President, I would ask that we give this consideration. I would entertain an option to even perhaps take this amendment, and if we don't want to necessarily strike everything from the original intent of this bill, that we could add this to a bill, that we could add this language. Because I think this is so important right now. I really am terrified of what is, again, not a when, but an if. I'm sorry, not an if, but a when we're going to see someone get terribly hurt or killed by a black bear, when we have the ability as a legislative body to, again, allow DEEP to do what it has done for the hunting of other animals in Connecticut for the purpose of population control, which will work. It's been done in other states, and it's been proven to help keep the population stable. We have an opportunity to fix this today, and I think that we should consider this very seriously. So, Madam President, I move adoption. Thank you.